There's a threat in the world today, a threat to our way of living, a threat to our society, and maybe even a threat to our very existence. And what is this threat?
What is going on this Sunday afternoon, folks?
Keeping it easy, like Sunday morning, even though it's Sunday afternoon.
It's Sunday afternoon now.
But then we had to change all the words to the song,
That's true.
and Lionel will be unhappy.
He'd be calling. He is the one.
I am.
I am the ass.
He is.
This is Black and White Sports live from the ass's new deck layer,
Deck layer.
sports deck layer,
Deckler?
sports deck layer,
Deckler.
sports deck layer. No, don't say that again.
Deckler.
Sports deck layer, folks, for the college football preview 2019.
All right. I'm not really this dark. It's just a glare. Or
don't know.
am I?
He's pretty dark.
So,
folks.
welcome everybody. This is again Black and White Sports annual college preview show. We are not behind. We are aware there was a game on last night. They just do things early. They need to be on our schedule and not us on their schedule.
Exactly. What's up
So
with that?
we will discuss a little bit of last night's game because it was actually pretty exciting.
Yeah.
I had some ideas about both teams coming into the game that had some question marks on my list of different things, from conferences to overall national positioning for both of those teams. And then I got some answers and I got some more questions, but all in out, I was pretty impressed with not pretty impressed. I was impressed by both teams on certain aspects of the game. So
Florida looks good, man. Florida looks good.
Florida looks good. They just
Miami's
picked up
got
the
that good
turnovers.
defense, though. Miami's got a hell of a defense.
Florida looks good. Miami looks
change
good.
game.
I like
It's a
their
change
I
game.
like their tight end Jordan. But we'll talk about them when we get to the
Yep,
ACC.
we
But I just
will.
wanted to mention that the game was last night. Florida and Miami. Florida was ranked number 8, and they
Miami's
did.
not ranked.
Right, I said Florida.
Okay.
Florida
Miami.
did win the game, pulled it out at the end after trying to give it away.
They tried.
I mean, it was like what four pass interferences.
They tried.
Late hit all on the last drive.
Yeah,
So and then it looked like they was gonna get another one in the end zone, but they picked that one up.
they did.
So and then that pretty much took care of that one. So, but it was a pretty decent game from what we were watching. I was out back burning wood watching it on the tablet.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I was watching a little bit of that and a little bit of the IndyCar race last night, and all of a sudden, something popped up.
I do recall saying we are not talking about Andrew Luck quitting
No,
today.
we are going to say that Andrew Luck made the decision that he thought was best for him and his family, and it's a done deal. If you're a true fan of the team, deal with it, move on, still cheer.
True.
Now I'm done.
Yeah, I will agree. Move on. I mean, at the end of the day, the man made a decision that's best for himself and his family.
Mhm.
When the wife speaks, the
Better
husband
listen.
listens, or you won't be husband any longer. So she, from what I understand, she wanted him out
A while ago.
a while ago from the surgery injury.
Yep.
The
The kidney deal, wasn't it?
one of the two.
I think that was the kidney deal.
I know that what some fans, and what I did post last night, some fans are angry at the fact that, because if you were having these issues, I mean, then you were having them before. It's not something that just says, I'm tired right now, I'm done. I think it's something that's been building.
Yeah.
And what they're angry about is that you just signed
Mhm.
the huge extension, which made him the third highest paid quarterback.
So
He's top
up there.
5.
He was up there.
Yeah, I think he's like top 5.
Mm-hmm.
So
Was
there's
up there.
that. I can see where the anger can come. But at the end of the day, like you said, if you're a fan of the Colts, and you're a fan of the Colts,
Mm-hmm.
Brissett is going to be a good quarterback. He's
He's
in a
a-
good
he's good.
situation. He's been in the program. He knows the offense, and you can't disclaim that he was drafted by New England. New England doesn't draft bus.
Right. Right. Now
So-
that you've talked more about it than I have.
Right. So now we're done. That's it. So deal with it. Yes. Our Dan's picks are all off now on the AFC.
Man.
a lot of fantasy. Okay. Last thing. I'm flipping through Twitter.
Yes.
And I've been talking to the wife the other day. I said, hey, I thought we were supposed to hear some excitement on Twitter from OJ. Because he like his social media, he's Twitter bound. He threatened, told everybody beware. So I'm waiting. And as I'm scrolling, what I see is him angry because he picked Andrew Luck
In his fantasy
like an
league.
hour before in his fantasy league.
That's why you
Before the
don't.
announcement.
That's why you don't have fantasy drafts until like next weekend. When
And
the
then
games are over, the preseason's done, and then now
who signs up for OJ's fantasy league? What's the prize? The truth.
the black glove?
All right. Okay. So the reason why y'all came to join us today is because of college preview. This is going to be a pretty exciting year in the college football realm. There's some pretty good teams
Mhm.
all across the board. Even as far as the Pac-12, which has been down last couple of years.
Mhm.
There would be a team that pop out, but they never did well when they came out of conference.
Right.
But this year, I think it's different for the Pac-12. Well, for a team in the Pac-12, not the Pac-12 as a whole, but you got let's say the top 15 is a very quality group of teams. Anybody
Yeah.
in the top 15 right now can be
go.
in that Final Four, Final
Mhm.
Six team talk.
Yep, I agree
So-
with that wholeheartedly. The SEC is still powerful. The ACC is not so much. In my opinion.
ACC is looking a little better, but it's not. And then I don't think ACC is ever going to be a powerhouse across the board. In
Mm,
football, their
they're
conference
basketball
is generally more basketball and baseball. So I don't really see a whole bunch of teams really jumping up and being good for a long time. I think
Right.
you're going to get teams that jump up, be good for 2 or 3 years, and then fall off and then come back. I don't think you get the consistency that you're going to have from Clemson. Florida State should be better.
Before I start disagreeing with you left and right, what conference do you want to start with? Because you've already said like 3 things that I want to talk about against your comments, because you're wrong and I'm right. And-
all right.
So no, we are here talking NCAA football.
Do remember my end total picks being more than yours.
Notre Dame still beat Michigan,
Yeah.
and you still owe me.
And
so.
I still know I did it.
No, you didn't.
Yeah, I
You
did.
didn't do the whole
Yeah,
song.
I did.
It didn't.
Yeah, I
You
did.
didn't.
The whole song played. I read the words as it was playing.
Nope.
You decided to interrupt and not let me complete my task.
This
so
is
it is
all
on you.
Hearsay, folks.
No, it's on video. All right. So let's go to the notes and just start at the top.
Okay.
Or not at the top, but let's just start with the alphabetical order you started with. But
I didn't really start in alphabetical order.
well, you did until you went 12 in front of 10.
Yeah. So you want to start at the ACC?
Yeah, start the ACC.
Let's start at the
The
ACC.
defending champs.
Defending champs, Clemson, in the Atlantic Division. 8 starters back on offense, including Trevor Lawrence, who the quarterback will make a Heisman Trophy run. He's going to be a candidate or a contender, I should say. I don't want to say candidate, but he's definitely going to be a contender for the Heisman. Their offense is way too powerful for that division, and they will sit on top of the Atlantic once again. Okay.
Okay. I'll put it this way. There's really not much Clemson has to do to come out of the ACC. I don't think they have any tests. And the test, and this is what we talked about, I alluded a little bit earlier when we were talking about
You
the
mean football
Miami.
players take tests?
Talk about the team being tested by other
Oh.
teams.
Oh,
I don't. With the game last night, I was trying to see what Miami was going to be. There's a lot of hype going on around the University of Miami.
mhm.
The new coach,
Michael
is
Irvin
bringing-
has still not put the cocaine down.
No, boy, that was. Boy,
Oh,
if,
yeah.
if you were a Hurricane
Oh,
fan
yeah.
and you could get it
Jeez.
excited after that,
Man.
but I wanted to see with all the hype, with all the bringing back the tradition, bringing back these old players, trying to get this thing of Miami back.
Who was all there? I saw him. I saw Reggie Wayne.
I saw Reggie Wayne. I saw Clinton
was,
Portis.
Okay.
I
Was,
think I
what's it-
didn't see Edrin.
I was gonna say, was he there? No.
There was a couple there. Names were just dropping off for me,
Yeah.
but there were quite a few. There were some back from the 80s
Okay.
all the way up. So I would have been excited if
the-
The Rock was there.
The team that played on the Convicts.
All of them. So it was. I didn't see Ed Reed, but I don't know if he was there or not either. But I know there was a large group, and they tried to build this thing back up and bring in the alumni and old players back in, and it looks
Okay.
pretty good. They got a lot of exciting young players. The quarterback, true freshman, he's going to be a good one. They got a tight end, last name Jordan. Nice. They got a
Yeah, he did.
receiver in Jackson and Thomas who touched the ball and they're gone. And they got a running back Dallas. I like Miami. I wanted to see how good they were going to be because their defense is going to be tough. I was looking for their offense. Lucky for them and lucky for Clemson that they don't play each
They don't-
other.
Yeah.
So if they play, it's going to be in the ACC championship game.
Mm,
And I don't see anybody coming out of the other side that can challenge Miami. I mean, that can really, because Miami's is going to be good. If you look over at North Carolina State, struggling. Florida State, so many question marks.
Oh, I agree with Florida. State.
Virginia
I don't think
Tech,
they're that
I think Virginia Tech is
good. That's who
a team is in the same position that Miami's in,
But that's who I have.
and that's who you
beaten
have.
Miami.
I have Miami. You have
Yep,
Virginia
yep,
Tech.
and that's who I have beaten Miami in the Coastal Division. I think that you got 10 defensive starters returning, and they are looking to redeem that crap that happened last year.
Yeah, you got 10 defensive starters, Liam, but you're missing the key part of that defense, the guy that has been there for 34 years.
Okay.
The defensive coordinator, the guy who's been there all the way with Frank Beamer.
Right. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
but
he's gone. So how is that defense going to perform?
Man,
Are they going to
if you're a returning defensive player, a defensive starter, I'm out for redemption. I'm
mean-
out for the naysayers that saying, "Oh, just because we lost our coach and we got a new system in here means we're going to be soft."
I didn't say they
that's
were going to be
no.
soft.
I'm thinking that's the attitude that they are going to take to the field.
Yeah, you can. But again, like with Miami, I have a lot of questions on offense with Virginia Tech. So there you go. But it regardless of the fact, Clemson is that in the ACC. There's not going to be a team that Clemson is going to face that is going to challenge them until they get to the Final Four. So there you have it.
So who do you?
There's already
have-
one team in the Final Four.
Well, who do you have in the either division of the ACC that could be a contender? Not the either team that you pick to win the division. Are you saying Virginia Tech is that since you picked Miami?
I like Virginia Tech. I do like them because I put Virginia Tech and Miami in the same boat. So that's 2A and 2A1, however you want to break that down. You know, past those three, I don't see anybody in the ACC. I don't like North Carolina State, Syracuse, no. Florida,
they're up there
Virginia,
in the top 25 right
yeah,
now.
but
And
I
that's
think-
that goes back to you shouldn't have rankings until at least week 6.
Right. I think they fall out like week 3. They're out. You don't even talk about it. Syracuse, I'm not thinking about. North Carolina State, I'm not thinking about. Virginia, I'm not thinking about. Sorry. Now, if we flipped over to basketball season, yeah, Virginia, we're getting talked about. You
Right.
know what I'm saying? So
Different
But-
sport.
different sport. I just don't see anything really. even if Miami or Virginia Tech tend to have a decent season, when they play in the championship game, I still don't see anybody competing with Clemson for a full game. Maybe a quarter, half a quarter. But Trevor Lawrence, that guy is the real deal.
Yeah.
He is the real deal.
He
And
is.
if he wasn't a true sophomore, he'd be the first pick in the draft. So
Dude's good.
next year, you're going to see him first pick in the draft. And I'm sorry, I don't see anybody challenging him. I think he's back-to-back Heisman.
The next 2 years?
Last year and this year. He didn't win it last year, did he?
No.
No, I think
Kyler
he
Murray
wins.
won it.
Yeah, I think he wins last, right. I think he wins it this year, and I think he wins it next year. Dude is phenomenal. He's got all the tools. What is he, 6'3", about 225? He can throw the ball from the 10 to the 10. To the guy.
To the guy, yeah, to the guy.
To the guy standing on the 10, not somewhere around there.
That's
So,
true. That's true. No, I agree. There's nobody in the ACC that's gonna knock Clemson out.
Yeah,
of
and I
going.
think that's his path to the Heisman because he's going to be unchallenged. He's going to throw probably 4 or 5 touchdowns every game.
That's their offense.
Right. That's their
That's
offense.
their offense.
But if you look at it, they play Wake Forest, they play Charlotte, they play Wolford, they play North Carolina State. They, you know what I mean? It's Duke. It's bad. So
Well, yeah. Anyway,
all right. So bye.
there's the ACC, folks.
And so next up is the Big 12.
The
The
Big
Big 12.
12. Who you got winning? Oh, who do you got in number 1 and number 2 slots? Since they don't have an actual conference or divisions.
This is probably out of all the conferences, this is the conference that is just completely 2 teams.
I agree. For the most part.
I mean, you put
the most part.
you put Iowa State in there.
No,
Yeah.
it said
Notable.
contenders.
I mean, you put them in there because Iowa State's one of them teams that it's like maybe they're very flashy on offense. They score points, but towards the end of the year, when it starts to get cold, when you need defense, they tend to struggle.
Right. And then they end with the Big Ten Iowa matchup.
Right. So Iowa State is a good name to throw out there and here talk about somebody else. But this is 100 complete total control by Oklahoma and Texas.
Okay. Who's number 1 and number 2?
I have Texas.
I have Oklahoma.
Yeah.
All right.
I've never really been, and this is probably a little biased. I've never
Not
really
at
been.
all, is it? I'm waiting on this.
Yeah, I've never really been a big Oklahoma fan. Not that I don't like players that come from Oklahoma.
You're
I'm
sure
just not a big.
Jalen Hurts fan.
Ain't no wrong with Jalen Hurts.
Not now that he doesn't play for the school in Ohio, right?
He came from Alabama.
He came from Alabama. Yeah, my bad. There were so many transfers over the past 3 years.
Yeah,
It's a lot.
I think it's transfer thing. That's a whole nother deal.
Yeah, we'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
I can't make it here, so I'm gonna go to no.
I mean,
shut
you
up,
got
man.
right. I agree with you there. You got beat out
Someone cry about
somewhere else. Some kid came up better. You didn't like it. You left and went somewhere else. I mean, depending on the situation, transfers, there are good ones, and then there are some like you're kind of, this is not a good deal. You're a spoiled brat, and you transfer them because you're not getting your way, or you got the transfer. Like, this is a better situation for the kid and the school.
Right.
And I don't think that was it.
No.
Granted, Oklahoma did just win the Heisman with a previous transfer.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they can do it here. I think the 2 guys there's 3 guys above him before we get to our Heisman talk. I'm not gonna mention their names, but I think there's 3 guys legitimately above him by 3 or 4 categories.
Okay. Well, I still think both Jalen Hurts and Sam Ellinger is among the top contenders for Heisman this year. I think that Jalen Hurts is. I mean, you can't deny Jalen Hurts' performance at Alabama. What he did when he was on the field, he was good, except for when all of a sudden, was it last year Tua took over?
Actually, Tua took over in
At
the
the end
national
of-
champ when they won the national
when
the
Hurts
second
got hurt.
half. No, he got
No,
benched.
he got benched because he threw what 4 picks or
He
something?
got benched because he was an average Alabama quarterback. He was not a great
Right.
Alabama quarterback.
Which, okay. You take that however you want.
There's a difference. You know what I mean?
There
He's
is.
an average Alabama quarterback. You know what I mean? Then you got the great ones. This kid comes in as a true freshman and takes your spot.
Yeah.
Because he does what you can't and does what you can better.
Yep.
That's why you're over here. And the reason why you're starting because he didn't have anybody else. But anyway,
But yes, I do have Iowa State in the mix there.
Yeah, I do like Texas. Something about
Texas is
something
tough,
about the
man.
Longhorns, and I mean, and they've been building something there.
I don't think I don't think Texas is going to match with Oklahoma this year, though. I don't
Hey,
think.
didn't they beat them in the Red River last week?
Yeah,
last year?
last year. That's what I'm saying. I don't think that Oklahoma's going to lose to them twice in 2 in a row.
Oh, that's a safe bet.
But then they're going to have to play each other in the
They're gonna have to flip right around and play each other
Conference
again.
championship
Yeah.
of the Big 12.
That's why the Big
quote-unquote.
12 is because I don't see West Virginia. I don't see, but like I put on the notes, not this year,
You said next 3
but
years.
next 2 to 3 years. Keep a lookout for Kansas.
Yeah.
Kansas is they got Les Miles. Les
Yep.
Miles can recruit. He
Yep.
can bring people in. And it is a conference that they're looking for a third team.
Oh, they need it.
They need a third team.
They need it. They need
So-
they need some competition in that to actually split the division.
Right.
Split the
So
conference
if
into
they
divisions.
can keep him,
Big if.
if they can keep, because if Les Miles comes in there in the next 2 years, puts 10 wins in Kansas, he's gone
Unless they pay him.
unless they pay him.
Mhm.
So be on the lookout for Kansas on that for in the Big 12.
All right. That's all I got for the Big 12. What about you?
Hey, that's what I got.
The one.
That's what I got.
That's what I got.
Yeah. So
Now,
next
let's
up
not-
is the
Let's talk a little bit biased from Big Ten. Big
Let's,
Ten friend here.
let's jump up. So next up online is the Big Ten. The last 3 or 4 years in these way too early polls,
way too early.
the Big Ten has dropped the most teams in the top 25 the
Mm-hmm.
last 3 years. And
They're
it's
still
no different this year. They got 7 teams
Mhm.
in the top 25.
So you got
I think at the end of the
Michigan State, Nebraska, Wisconsin,
Iowa,
Ohio State, Iowa,
there's another one. Penn State.
Northwest. Okay.
Did you say Penn
Ohio
State?
State, Penn State, Michigan, Iowa, Nebraska,
Wisconsin.
and then Northwestern is right outside.
Yeah, they're like 27,
Yep.
28, something
Yep.
like that. Northwestern plays good in conference, boy.
Yeah, they do. They do.
Them smart kids up there play good.
They know how. I mean, they're in Chicago.
So this is and another time they take that many teams in the preseason, and then when you hit the end of the season of the bowl games, they'll have a lot of profile bowl games, and they'll always finish under 500 in the bowl
Man,
games.
It's a
I
deal.
mean, it's pretty bad. I think last year the Big Ten was hit pretty hard in the bowl games with injuries and kids not playing. I think that had a lot to do with a lot of those games with kids not playing. Is I think not to say that they would have won the games, but the games have probably been a little bit more competitive because a lot of those
I'm sure
were
they
key
would have.
players.
Yeah, I'm
So,
sure they would have.
I mean, I'm not really talking more injuries. I'm talking more of holdouts for bowl games, for draft positionings and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
But
We need
all
to
in,
do a stat. I want to see a stat on kids that don't play in the bowl games that go to the draft, and kids that do play in the bowl games that get drafted. I want to see like how their progression is through the first 3 years of NFL.
well, we're going to have to wait a couple years on that kind of data.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying that's what I want to see. That
That will be a good one.
Yeah.
That will be a good one. But it's too early because I think it's still less than 15 kids that's done it.
right.
So I think we'll need about a 2, 3, 4 year, maybe a 5-year
I'd say
span.
within 5 years. Yeah.
So,
Yep.
but all in all, the Big Ten does look tough this year. And a lot of these Big Ten teams are implementing a little more wide openness to their offense.
Mm-hmm.
Big Ten has normally been a
Run and gun.
you know, you got your offensive line, you got your double tight ends, and you're pounding the ball. And that's why they get beat a lot in the bowl games, is they come up with these teams from the
Spreading.
SEC that spread things out.
Yep.
So Ohio State has been the prototype
He said it.
and I did. And they have been the prototype in the Big Ten of how you mix the power game of the Big Ten and the spread out game of the South.
Yep.
Or the SEC, so to speak. And I think a lot of teams are starting to jump in on that.
Mm-hmm.
Penn State does it. Michigan is supposed to have done it, but they always tend to go back to Harbaugh's old plain basic Stanford offense, and it does not work. So he's brought a new offensive coordinator in, and he's supposed to have let him have control. So
Right.
I
We'll see.
want to see.
We'll see.
Yeah, I want to see when we get into Big Ten Conference and they happen to be down in the game or some things aren't going well, when does Harbaugh
Give me that.
Yeah, you know
Pull
what I'm
that
saying?
leash back a
Or
little
does
bit.
you back up and let the guy you hire do his thing?
That's what you should do.
So that's
Because
what
you're supposed to hire somebody that you have trust in for that position.
Right. So we'll see.
So speaking of the East Division in the Big Ten, Damon, who do you have winning the East?
I got Michigan winning the East.
I have to agree with you. I think
First
this
time they
year's
beat
the-
first time they beat Ohio State
Yep.
in 8 years.
Yep, I think they're going to pull it out this year. I think their one loss this year will come from Notre Dame.
Well, I expect you to say that.
But you notice you guys are going to go
Hey,
11 and
I
1.
saw that. I saw that. The first time in a long time that I ever truly believe that they will run the table.
Okay. You know what's interesting?
And
This year,
I haven't
folks?
said that since
Long time.
97. The last time they ran the table.
What's really going to be interesting is normally Notre Dame and Michigan match up second or third week of the season.
Right. It's in late October.
This year, it's like October 26th, 28th, something like that.
Mhm.
At night, I'm sure, at the big house. It's going to have significant meaning.
It's going to be at least
in the playoff
113,000 people there.
Well, when I was there, I think it was like me and Howdy went to the first night game, and it was like 111 or 100 something like that. It's like, oh, damn, this place is huge.
Yeah.
It was loud too.
And I will be in the big house the first weekend of
Is it October?
first weekend of October's homecoming.
There you go.
We got the Hawkeyes
There you go.
going on the Michigan's fellas trip with my homeboy, Chef Chekwa Funichi.
Chuck Love.
Chuck Love. If you ain't paid attention, y'all jump on our page and get y'all some of that Chuck Love seasoning. That
good.
stuff is killing Lowry's.
It's good on
It's-
catfish. It's good on steak. It's good on tuna. It's good on everything you can put it on. I'll tell you what.
That was pretty good.
You like that?
Yeah, I like that. We might have to let you do a segment of that. But anyway, so that'll be fun. We got end zone tickets, row 1.
So we're gonna see you on TV.
I'm guaranteed to be on TV. And I will have a sign. I will have a
We
sign.
need to have a maize and blue, black and white sports shirt made for you.
Okay. That's
Just
fine.
thought of
But that's great. But I will have a sign. I'll be standing there with a sign like this.
We need to just work on some tickets for the Notre Dame Michigan game. So anybody want to sponsor us and throw us a couple tickets to that game, we'll go up to the big house and throw you guys out left and right and all over the place. Just saying. Shout.
Man, the ticket on that boy. Wow. But anyway, I like Michigan in to win out.
Yep.
In the East and in the Big Ten.
We got a defense that's hungry.
They got a strong game, but they got some pretty. The Big Ten is no slouch, you know what I mean? But the key here for them is all of your big games are at home. We got you guys at home. We got Michigan State at home. We got Ohio State at home. Everybody's at home. But you gotta, the thing I'm worried about is that early test. The early test is going to be Army.
Uh-huh.
Army is a team we're gonna talk about later on.
Yeah, yep.
Army is a team that you bet not slip on.
Mm-hmm.
They're a team that most traditional NCAA teams don't play.
Right.
So you're not familiar with their style of offense.
And it's very few and far between
Yeah.
that style nowadays.
Yeah,
in the
buddy.
NCAA.
So if you're not on your lanes, on your principles, on your defensive structure, Army will run over you, and they got a quarterback that is outstanding.
Yes, he is.
So we got some stuff. I got some stuff about Army.
it's funny that we both looked at the same team. It was like, uh-huh.
Yeah. So that's an early test. I think if they can get past that with a good showing, I think that sends them on in. I think they go through. I just there's something about the feel around this team. You know, they're a little different. They don't have a lot of
11-1.
yeah, a lot of people out there just real brash in the media like we had last year that talked them into
11-1.
getting the ass whooping. I think they got a real lot of hard nosed guys. I like it.
11-1.
But in the Big Ten, you gotta look at, because you got teams like Iowa, Wisconsin. Wisconsin's running back is a Heisman Trophy name.
Possible.
He's outstanding.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So Iowa is always good,
Yep.
as to Ohio State.
Yep.
And don't slip on Frost and his boys in Nebraska.
You know, I mean, good segue to the West, because that's who I got coming out the West this year. I think that they're going to be the most improved team in NCAA from last year. I think that Frost and his team, his assistants have something going on that's really good. They've always talked about, since the 90s, what was it, Eric Couch that was the quarterback back then that brought him to was it Tim Couch? Okay. Since then, it's like, where they been?
Mm-hmm. And then they have Tommy Frazier too.
Yes.
And that was a trivia question I think I asked before. The only Heisman Trophy winner not to be drafted
was Frazier.
Well, then I have to take that back, because Charlie Ward wasn't drafted either, because he went to but he was drafted.
He was drafted.
Technically, he was drafted.
He was drafted, but he went.
But he was just drafted in the NBA.
Right.
So yeah, only Heisman Trophy winner not to be drafted.
Not to be drafted in that sport
the
that
NFL.
they won the Heisman.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because he had the blood clots. Remember?
Yep.
And he like a coach now.
He was a good guard.
He like a coach somewhere.
I think so.
Yeah.
He can't see over the line.
I remember the play. I forgot what game he was running, but they were down like 4 points, and they ran an option on 3rd and like 11, and 11 people on defense touched this man. Some of them touched him more than 2 times. 70-yard touchdown run. Game over. Heisman Trophy winner. I would say this is for. I can't say that word. It's
ridiculous.
not politically correct.
Ridiculous.
Yes. But
that's the word you were looking for.
Yeah. And we just can't not talk about the school in Ohio. You know what I mean?
I'm talking about talking about the West.
Yeah.
They're not in the West.
You're not in the West, but you got
They're not in the West.
They're still contenders.
Talk about them later.
They're still contenders.
Talk about them later.
Yeah, I'm talking about them later, and later is now. They're still contenders. They did lose 1 game last year.
Yep.
I don't know. I think the Urban Meyer effect is going to have a part in it. But this guy who's coming in, he's been with Urban Meyer for multiple years.
Was it Day?
Yeah.
Day.
He's been with Meyer for a couple years. He knows that whole offense. Those kids know him. So I don't see a real small breakdown, but I do think that it affects them. And plus, they got all these allegations that's coming out that's going to affect them too.
Well, yeah. I mean, you got all that weight on your shoulders. You're going to have, something's going to happen. But they are still the team that you're not going to slouch over. Nobody's going to walk over them. I mean, Michigan won't walk over them.
Oh, no.
But
it's going to be a tough one.
Yeah, but Ohio State's always going to be, at least as it looks right now, Ohio State is still going to be up and running towards the top of the division. Definitely towards the top of the conference, because if they're not 3, they're 4.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, in the West, I got Nebraska pulling it out.
Yeah, I got Michigan, Nebraska in the Big Ten title game.
Okay, and Michigan winning. I'm
assuming. That is correct.
Okay. I mean, I got Michigan winning that too. So
there you have it. And here is my favorite Sneaky pick.
in the Big Ten.
But no,
Then why are you saying it yet?
we're in the Pac-12.
Oh, we're
We're going
jumping
to-
the
yeah,
SEC.
we're done with the Big Ten.
We're jumping the SEC.
The SEC? Did we jump the SEC? We did.
Oh no, hold on.
No, we didn't.
You are going like alphabetically somewhat. So go ahead with the Pac-12.
All right, my bad. So Pac-12.
I just got to jump a little bit down my notes.
I just went down. on
Boiler up
yours.
from Brandon. Yes, I tell you what. I think God, what's his name up there? The new coach.
The black guy.
No. Maybe you're thinking that because he's got a birthmark on half of his face. What's his name?
I don't know. I like Purdue. I just think it's.
I
not
think
their
they're gonna
year.
be a good game. No, it's not gonna be their year. They're gonna be in some games that they normally shouldn't be.
think they
Normally
win.
haven't been lately. And
I think they
win
win
some of
9
them.
games, 8, 9
I was
games.
gonna- yeah,
I think they win 8, 9 games.
8 at most, 7 or 8.
I definitely think they win the Oaken Bucket.
Yeah, I don't see them losing it that this year.
Yeah, I definitely see them doing that.
Yeah, I mean, I see them in a bowl.
Yes, I see them in the bowl that's
One of the
closer to
60
New
bowls.
Year's.
Yeah.
That's closer to New Year's,
Right.
not closer to Thanksgiving.
Right, one of the 60 bowls that are closer to the New Year's rather than Thanksgiving.
True.
Yes,
So we jump over to
the Pac-12.
the Pac-12. Again, I think this is a 2-team race with a couple other teams that could potentially cause problems.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's between Oregon and Utah. I think Oregon comes out one side, Utah comes out the other.
Let me just tell you, folks. I put my notes down first. He's copying.
But we've disagreed on every one.
I can't disagree on this though.
Oh,
'cause
no.
it is Oregon in the north and Utah Utes in the south. And I'm gonna tell you right now, Utah's defense is gonna take them to a Pac-12 championship this
I
year.
got Oregon.
I don't
I
care.
got
who you
Oregon.
See,
Yeah, buddy.
care
I
who
like
you
them
got.
Ducks. I like them Ducks. Quack, quack. And they get extra bonus points because they'll never wear the same uniform twice.
Yeah. They got
Or
50
helmet.
Yeah, they got 57 different ones just waiting for them to pick which one they want this
Thank
week.
you, Phil Knight.
Right?
I don't think for real. I think from the number of jerseys and how they're intermatched, I think they can go 11 games and not wear the same jersey twice.
12,
13.
13.
But I like both of these teams.
Why do you like Oregon?
I like Oregon because I think they're dynamic. Their quarterback is outstanding. He's
Heisman candidate.
Oh yeah, yes he is.
Contender.
Yes he is.
Yep.
And I think next to Trevor,
Still not.
I
He's
think
still
next-
not the best quarterback in the conference though.
I think next to Trevor Lawrence, I think he has the easiest path to the Heisman because of how weak the Pac-12 is.
We all know what kind of defense was played in the Big 12 and the Pac-12. Mostly none.
Yeah, so
And that's why Utah's going to beat the damn
I
brakes
see
off of Oregon.
I see big numbers from him all year. And Oregon and Utah won't play until
Championship.
the championship game. So that'll be exciting.
Mhm.
And I'm gonna tell you right now, the winner of that game is in the Final Four.
Ooh.
The winner of that game is in the Final Four.
Ooh.
With Oregon, I think it all counts on this first game against Auburn. Might be, like I said in our notes, this
Early
might be the
test.
biggest game
Of week
for
one.
their conference.
Oh yeah,
all
I get you.
year.
Yeah, and I see what you're saying. With
You
that.
know what I mean? Because Oregon's highly ranked.
Yeah.
Auburn is an SEC team.
Yep.
Pac-12 does not do well when they come out of conference.
Correct.
So this is a big game. This is next week, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, this game is next week.
Yeah.
Oregon wins this game, and this rolls them through all the way through the final. I think this takes them all the way through the Final Four. Dynamic.
I can't disagree with the dynamic.
But
of
I
the
love
game.
Utah. Utah's defense is really, really, really good.
Don't you have somebody that lives in Utah?
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. Cousin, they'll be here in October for the Bear family reunion
Cool.
that they're trying to get me to cook for.
Bunch of white folk want black cooking, huh?
Well, but again, across the board,
By
I'm
the
not
way,
real.
he was telling me to check my meat yesterday as he's sitting here not cooking on my grill yesterday.
Yeah, because there's flames, and he's over here. Look.
No, I wasn't even over here. I think I was inside.
No,
doing
you were
something.
sitting over there.
Oh.
You was right there because you had a sun key in your hand. And you were talking there, and I said, "Check your meat." Yeah, my meat, birthday. But anyway, back to it. The Pac-12 as a whole is struggling. SEC, I mean USC, not going to be what they're supposed to be or
No.
what they should be.
No.
I don't see it, and I don't see it for a couple years.
Stanford.
UCLA, not really excited about it. Stanford
has the best quarterback in the conference,
but they're not getting ready to do nothing.
but they have the best. I'm just
That's
saying
fine.
they have the best quarterback in the conference.
That's great.
They're the notable contender in my notes that you copy off of.
Yes.
They're the notable contender of the conference.
Yeah, if that's your opinion, I don't think there is a notable contender in this conference. If I had to pick one, it's Arizona State. And
Just
you
because
play to win the game. Herm Edwards, my guy. That's my guy.
I almost put him in there as the notable contender just because of him.
And
like-
how good they were
that's-
last year.
Well, yeah, they who they knock off
Early.
I know they knocked off BYU. They not Oregon. They beat Oregon. Yeah,
And then Oregon went nutball.
man.
So yeah. I
But
like
no,
Herm.
I can't agree with you that it's an automatic bid into the Final Four. Whoever wins the Utah and Oregon game. But we'll discuss our top 6 here soon.
Yeah, whoever comes out of there is undefeated.
Okay.
Well, potentially, because in my record, I think whoever comes out of the
Can
game is
Oregon
undefeated.
still win if they lose to Auburn first game?
I think they can still win the conference. I don't think they can get in the Final Four.
Okay.
They need to win that game because
I
when
would
it comes down to the voting, people are going to look. Well, here again, the Pac-12 didn't do so well. Then you're going to have people say, "Well, it's the first game of the year," and blah blah blah. But whatever.
I mean, it is a 12-game season,
yeah.
right? So you need to win every game.
In college football, you need to win every game. That's your best.
That's
your best bet, unless
Yeah.
you play in the SEC. You can get in the championship and be in one loss because out of the 30 teams, I know I'm over exaggerating.
No.
Out of the 30 teams in the SEC, 25 of them are
ranked in the top 40
or bowl teams.
Right.
So,
like bigger bowl teams.
I mean, bottom teams in the SEC can be number one teams in other
And
conferences.
Pac-12
and the ACC. Well, not Clemson.
I was gonna say, yeah. Don't forget about them.
Yeah. So,
all right, there you have the Pac-12, folks. We have made our way to the Southeastern Conference.
Alabama.
So
and Georgia. And Florida. And LSU.
Who do you have winning the East?
And that's Georgia.
Georgia.
Yeah.
Georgia.
I got Georgia and Alabama in the SEC championship game.
I got Georgia. I got Alabama. I got Georgia winning.
As much as I like Georgia and Fromm, but something about that Nick Saban boy.
I'm telling you, man.
And that Tua Laga Donga Tonga Laga Bongo. You know, Jalen Hurts superior.
Right.
the
one that transferred Hurts to Oklahoma.
Hey, let me ask you a question.
I'll answer. Whether you like my answer
What's
or not, that's up to you.
Alabama's record after losing the championship game the next year?
Like
championship, isn't it?
I probably
and under Nick Saban, they're like when they play in the
if
championship
they've
game
lost
and
the
they
year
lose,
before, they'll win.
They'll win the next year.
But I don't think so this year.
I don't have them win. I don't have them picked to win.
I don't
this
think
year.
they're winning the
But
SEC.
I think them boys is hungry. Well, Alabama is.
I think
loaded.
I think Georgia's hungrier than Alabama is.
I like Georgia, but I think
That
Georgia's
game
losing
last
some
year,
things.
And that game last year between Georgia and Alabama to get into the
Mhm.
thing. oh man, it's like you
Yeah.
had it. You had it.
And that's the Nick Saban effect.
That was not the Nick Saban
Hey,
effect.
isn't Georgia one of Nick Saban's boys?
Yeah, I believe so.
Ain't Nick Saban win and
Hey.
0 against all his proteges?
There's always time for change.
Yeah, it is. But
Always
I don't think
a
it's
time
this
for
year.
change, and it's going to be this year.
Yeah, but that offense has what 5 top 10 picks
Oh,
on
yeah.
it right now.
Yeah. Yeah, they're tough. And here and just to say, my notable contender in the conference is LSU because they are tough.
LSU is hard to beat,
They
and they
are
deep. Well, they're
tough.
hard to beat. And who I got, my
I wouldn't want to
notable,
go to Death Valley. Would you?
nah, my note, and that's the reason why my notable team is Florida.
I was thinking about them too because nobody wants to go to the swamp.
They got 7 home games in the swamp.
Yeah. Yeah.
You don't win in the swamp. You don't go to the swamp and win unless you're Nick Saban. But they got 7 home games, and I think 4 of the 7 are highly ranked teams in the SEC. So I like Florida's outside chance. I like their outside chance.
Way outside.
Yeah, because I mean they're like 5th.
Because I think that I could be wrong, but I believe that they go to Death Valley this year.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think LSU is going to put it on them.
Yeah. I mean, LSU's defense is really good. Florida's defense is really good. My question marks is their inconsistency at the quarterback position.
Yeah.
There was no reason for you to have that many turnovers last night. I guess, yes, it's the first game, but so what?
Yeah, 4.
This was an up-and-coming,
Four?
this is an up-and-coming, very highly talked about Miami team, and this was a chance for Florida to shut some people up and say, this is why we're up here.
They didn't.
And you didn't. I mean, there was times that you should have just put them out, but Miami played
that defense
very well.
Miami's defense is stout,
man, and they're young.
They are. They're hungry. They're young. They're agile. Some damn good ability on Miami's defense.
I like the Canes late. I mean, I like the Canes as an upcoming team, not to win anything over there, but I like them. I think they go to a good bowl game, but yeah. But Florida is a team to watch for.
Okay,
I mean, because
I'm telling you, LSU is the team to watch for.
Both of them, because they're really the same.
So you got a 1 and 2, and you got a 3 and 4. You got a race for first, and you got a race for third.
Yeah, because you got to. I mean, they're a coin flip. I think LSU and Florida, to me, is a coin flip. Yeah. You know, whichever. I mean, if I had Florida heads and LSU tails,
50 out of 50 times, it's going to split.
It's going to split, and I'm going to go whichever one pops up is who I'm going to say is the notable team.
Right.
So
is that how you did it?
It could have been very easily. I just went with the first one that just stood out on the page, and it may be because I watched them last night. So
yeah. All right. So I got Georgia winning. You got Alabama winning.
I do.
Now let's talk about the
independents.
Well, not necessarily independents, but
independents and others.
Yeah. So I'll start off with the Fighting Irish of Notre Dame.
Mm-hmm.
I believe they're ranked 9th right now.
Three huge games.
Oh, man. And they're away. All 3 of these games are away for Notre Dame. Michigan, Georgia, Stanford. Those are all away games. 3rd game of the year is Georgia. Then again, we talked about that late October matchup with Michigan at the Big House. Then you end the season, Thanksgiving weekend, out in California. It's going to be tough. But what's Lee Corso say? Not so fast. Notre Dame has a very good quarterback in Ian Book. Notre Dame has reloaded their defense where it has been needed. And Notre Dame will be pushing for one of the top 4 spots come playoff time. I would say they have to win at least 2 of those 3 away games and lose no other game this year. So they'd be 11-1. They have to win 2 out of those 3 away games.
Me personally, I think with Notre Dame being a
They have to
independent.
go undefeated.
Now, I'm not going to talk bad about Notre Dame because I like Notre Dame's program. I like the way Notre Dame's program is headed. I do have some question marks on the offense. Ian Book, I think his name is Ian, right?
Yep.
Ian Book, I think he's a phenomenal quarterback. I think he is a one of the top tier quarterbacks. I think he might be maybe the 5th or 6th quarterback off the board, second round, early second round, late first round, early second round type quarterback.
Mhm.
But I have question
Well, he's
marks.
still got another year.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. That's
Yeah,
what
I
type
gotcha.
of player he
I
is.
gotcha.
I'm thinking I have question marks around him. You know what I mean? I have
Mhm.
question marks with the receiving core, got question marks with the backfield because the backfield tends to be banged up a lot.
Mhm.
And you know, and I think the core, I think the strength of this Notre Dame team this year is going to be their defense.
Mhm.
But with some of the teams that they play,
Gotta
mentioning
score.
these 3 teams
You
specifically,
Gotta score.
you're going to have to score. And that's why I hate to say it, but he thinks I love to say it because I like what Notre Dame is doing. But let's get this truth be told. I've never been a Notre Dame hater.
I've been a Michigan hater.
I never have because, I mean, I got pictures back in the day when I had a
Rocket Ishmael jersey.
Rocket Ishmael. And,
Jerome Bettis.
yeah, that's my guy. So, and I was I like him, but
Did
my
you have a
team
Tony
is,
Rice?
No.
Should have.
I had a Rick Meyer.
Wow.
Yeah, the number 3.
Black guy holds a Rick Meyer jersey over Tony Rice. All right.
But I had a Rocket. And I was
Yeah,
upset.
Balance it out.
And I was upset that the missile went to Syracuse instead of Notre Dame.
Yeah, he should have followed in his brother's foot.
And I will always blame Notre Dame for destroying Lou Holtz.
In a heartbeat.
And
Don't
setting
get me
your
started on
and
that.
setting your program back 15 years.
Don't get me started on that.
But
We're going to
that's
get me
beside the
started
point.
on that, and then we're going to get me
But-
started on the Tyrone Willingham deal where you should have
Yeah.
kept him, but you wanted
Yeah.
to bring in Charlie Weiss, who screwed you even more.
Yeah.
Good job.
So I
And you
think
paid him until 2014. Sorry, I'm off now.
I like Notre Dame's defense, but I think the inconsistencies in the offense being able to produce points is going to reason why they lose to Georgia and they lose to Michigan and they beat Stanford.
So they go 10-2,
I think they go 10-2.
and that's not good enough to get in the playoffs.
No, it's not, but it's good enough to not play on Thanksgiving.
Well, if Notre Dame goes 10-2, they're automatically in one of the decent bowls. So
Yeah, but you know, what I mean, I want to pick Notre Dame higher, but I just don't. And then with the fact that how good I think Georgia can be, I think that's going to be rough for them to go down there, and down there in the dog country. I think that's going to be a hard one. Not to say that they cannot do it, not to say that they cannot go into Ann Arbor and do it. They're very capable of I'm hurting on the offense.
the game that I would be most worried about, honestly, would be the Georgia game out of all 3 of those. I mean, no
Yeah.
offense to Michigan, no offense to Stanford, but Georgia is going to be the toughest, like you said, going down to Georgia.
And that
Third game of the
Notre
year.
Dame has not fared well playing the SEC lately.
No, at all. So, but
So
that's Notre Dame.
yeah. So I do like to have a decent, over average decent season for Notre Dame. So don't be mad, Notre Dame fans. It's not like you're going to be doing a whole lot of boo-hooing. You're still going to have a very quality Notre Dame season.
Yeah, but
And you will beat the dirt breaks off of USC.
I can't wait for that. I despise Southern Cal a lot more than I despise Michigan. Let me tell you that.
And he's got it on here, but I really don't want to talk about him.
Well, you know what? We're going to talk.
But we're going to talk about
damn it.
him. He wants to talk about Lane Kiffin's UCF.
We're talking about different conferences here. Damon.
This guy.
Talking about
I went
different-
undefeated. So
Well, he don't deserve.
I'm going to make
he
us the
doesn't
national
deserve
champions.
A banner that says national.
Man, get out of
champions.
here, man.
Here's where I'm saying.
Saban
Brandon-
ran your joke ass out of there. Tennessee ran your joke ass out of there. Get your joke ass out of here.
Brandon Wimbush is now their quarterback. He wasn't a bad quarterback at Notre Dame. And kind of like you said about the the Jalen Hurts transfer,
Mm-hmm.
you know, you're an average quarterback at Alabama, which you're usually a good or above average to great quarterback somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
Brandon Wimbush Notre Dame didn't have the line.
He's going to look like a star in a
phenomenal.
mediocre everything.
Hey, but you know what? He's going to look like that
I
star.
mean, yeah, you're going to look like a star. Your numbers are going to be like astronomical,
and almost
and
to
you're
the
going to be
point
playing
where,
Coastal Carolina.
almost to the point where they're going to be taught. And I'm not saying I agree with it wholeheartedly, but they will start talking about Brandon Wimbush's numbers in Heisman talk.
Just for talk.
I'm just saying.
Just for talk. As soon as they sit there and look at that schedule in the Atlanta Coastal, you play UConn. You play Massachusetts.
The games they need to win, the games you should win, you obviously need to win.
You're going to lose them both.
But the two games that you really need to make sure you win,
you're going to lose them both.
Is Stanford and Houston.
Yes. You're going to lose them both.
I'm just saying.
Stanford might like thump you.
Them.
Like thump you.
Like I said earlier, the quarterback at Stanford, I think, is probably the best quarterback in the Pac-12.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a Lane Kiffin fan.
Well,
I think
they'll be playing for Andrew Luck's legacy.
Yeah, I think he's out for himself. I think he only thinks about himself. I think he uses these kids. I don't think he looks out. I don't think he has anything positive to give these kids. I'm sorry. I'm not a fan. Just by his track record. You know what I mean? I'm not sorry about those kids that play there. You're probably some good kids, but you know, and I've heard talk comparing them. Well, it's kind of like Boise State with Urban Meyer. No, it's not, because they came out and they played big names.
Yeah.
And when they hit the bowl games, they
ready.
Beat these guys.
Yeah.
That's how he got to Florida. That's how he got to OSU.
Yep.
That's why he's got 3 national championships.
Yep.
Lane Kiffin, sorry. I think he's going to be a high school coach in 4 years.
Wow. All right, then.
And that's enough about that.
Well, let's talk about the team that we were both boasting on earlier.
Man,
the best armed forces team
in a
around.
while. Maybe since the quarterback guy that went to Navy. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was Starbuck.
Wow, you're talking like way back.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like, Army, this team is good enough to be on the national ranking spotlight.
I'm not going to disagree a bit with that.
I am saying they got 2 games on their schedule that they need to worry about. And one of them, I think they're going to lose. Obviously.
Who?
They play Michigan.
Who's first game?
And then the second game of the season. And then for us.
Yeah.
And then the last game, which
Navy.
is always Navy.
Yeah.
I think those are their two games. Obviously, the Navy game, because it means so much.
A lot of pride.
Yeah, and those guys really.
There. Yeah.
Regardless if those teams are over or undefeated, that's still one of the best games of the year.
Oh, hell yeah, it is.
So I think they win that game, but I think they lose. And I think they come into that with one loss where they're going to be talked about. They don't make the Final Four or anything like that. But I think they're going to be in the bowl game that you've never seen an Armed Forces bowl game team in before.
Hypothetically speaking here, of course, Damon, what if Army goes undefeated?
Hey, if Army goes undefeated, you have no choice as an American voter but to put them in the Final Four. If Army goes undefeated and they go into the big house and win, and they beat Navy, there's no way you could not keep them out. I will go down to the NCAA headquarters with a picket sign and wear fatigues.
Wow.
Yeah, I got on my camo shorts right now.
He does. No, their quarterback is phenomenal.
Yeah, that's a
Hopkins. Is it Hopkins? Calvin Hopkins.
Yeah, Calvin Hopkins.
Yeah, he's good. They got a damn good defense being an armed force team. I'd hate to keep saying that, but it's true. You play you know, you don't play these big teams, but when you do play them, you stay in it. So more power to you.
Yeah. So I like Army and boiler up, Brandon. There you go.
That was earlier, man. That's
Yeah,
why we
I'm
started
like-
talking about Purdue. Remember
Yeah.
that part?
Well, that was my last thing. No, Courtney said something. She said go blue.
Yeah, nobody listens to that, Courtney.
So I like Army. There you go.
All right.
So who you got for your final four and your two alternates?
So the asses way too early playoff prediction.
Yes.
I have
No, Andrew Luck
Number-
and the Stanford Cardinals are not in it.
no. I have number 1 being Clemson,
Mm-hmm.
number 2 being Georgia,
Mm-hmm.
number 3 being Notre Dame,
Mm-hmm.
number 4 being Michigan, with Alabama and Utah looking in.
All right. I got Clemson number 1. I got Michigan number 2. I got Alabama number 3. And the reason why I got Michigan number 2 is because of the last game of the season, beating Ohio State and then turning right around and winning the Big Ten championship game. I think that puts them above Alabama at number 2, Alabama 3. And I got Oregon at number 4 with Georgia at 5 and Texas at 6.
Okay. Championship game, Damon. Who you got?
Championship game, I have Oregon and Clemson.
Oregon and Clemson cannot play each other the way you have them
Well,
ranked,
because it's one here.
because
that
1
is
and
correct.
4 would be playing. So Clemson
That
and
was
Oregon would be
my
playing
pick I
first.
had when I had Alabama here.
I got you.
So I take that back. I have
Rewind.
I have,
So
so I will have Oregon and Michigan.
you got Oregon beating Clemson
Yes, I do.
and Michigan being the national champs.
No,
Oregon.
I
the
got
Ducks.
Oregon.
All right. I got Georgia and Michigan in the championship game, and the Georgia Bulldogs winning it all. I'm really high on Georgia, man. I really think Georgia's going to do it. I think it's their year to knock off Alabama. I think it's their year to get into the championship game. And Jake
And
Fromm
obviously,
leaves
this is
with a
the way
title.
too early.
Way too
way
early.
too early. Because that can completely change
Way
if
too
Utah
early.
beats Oregon. Because then they flip flop. And then I got Michigan winning national championship.
well, now see, hold on here. Now, okay, so if we want to go that way,
Yeah.
let's say
There's
that-
like 1,000 scenarios.
I mean, yeah, I could see Utah being in the top 4,
mm-hmm.
especially if they go undefeated.
Yeah. And then that's it.
Yeah. Yeah. I still don't,
mean,
but
I
I
could-
do not see, I don't care how, what happens from here on out. This is way too early, but I do not see Alabama making the top 4.
I don't see, and I would really like to see them fall out. But see, I only picked Alabama to win their side of
The division.
the division.
In the SEC.
I still haven't picked Georgia or them in that game. I'd like to pick Georgia, but I keep one due here. But I really like to pick Georgia. I really
I'm
would.
telling you, man. I think, like I said, I think Fromm gets his national title before he gets drafted to the NFL.
I don't know. Because I mean, I'd like Texas to sneak up there too.
I can see
I
Texas
can
coming
see
in
that,
there.
man.
You
It's
know,
just- I
neither one
mean,
of us have the Big 12
No.
champion in the top 4. They're you got Texas in. I got Oklahoma still not in the top
Mhm.
6.
Yeah, I mean, but you, like we said earlier, I mean, you got about 15 teams.
Yeah.
That as of right now, that it was obviously they'll dwindle down, but you got about 15 teams right now that are legitimately qualified to win the national championship. So there you got it.
All right,
So
that was fun.
we will review this again right before bowl season.
Oh yeah. After Thanksgiving weekend, we're gonna get together and we're going to do the
Bowl,
bowl
special.
Hell,
That's
that might be
fine.
with all 4 of us. You never know.
Okay,
Why not?
why not?
Why not?
Why not?
We're waiting on being invited to a Checkers and Wreckers special show, but
It's all right. I'll put a plug on their ass. No, I'm just
he
playing.
started
I was just
sounding so
playing.
country when he said "plug in your ass."
No, I said pull the plug on that ass.
Yeah, whatever. Y'all heard it just the same as I did.
Well, there you have it.
He is the one.
I am.
I am the ass.
He is.
Who are we?
We are Black and White Sports, and this is the end of our
College football preview.
2019-20 season.
Do it again.
2019-2020 season. All right. See you guys in a week from the
Wednesday.
stadium.
I think so.
Not this Wednesday.
Not
Two
this
Wednesdays.
Wednesday.
2 Wednesdays. We'll see you in 2 Wednesdays.
Yep, we're taking
For season 3
Yes.
kickoff.
Yes, I can't wait, man. It's going to be butting up to the, you're going to have the first week down in college, and we're going to have the first week preview of the NFL, and
And then we get to go over our picks. Oh, the
Yes.
weekly picks.
I'll do it like Howdy. Picks of this week.
And we are running a contest for picks. I think
Are
we
we?
ought to do one. We ought to figure out one.
Well, then I'll tell you what. Why don't we
gotta
do
figure out
a pick 'em? What do you call it? A survival league, where you pick one team a week to win their game that week. If they win, you're still in. If they lose, you're done.
Yeah, I don't like it.
You don't like it.
I think we need to do a tally, like we do at work.
You don't like it.
Like we do at work that I told Robin that you were going to be in, since she asked me.
Oh, again?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, there you go.
We'll
We'll
figure
come up with
something
something.
out.
We'll come up with
Yes.
something. We'll do another contest for you guys, and this will be generated towards the football season, so it'll be
Yes,
awesome.
This is our start of our time to shine now.
Yes. All right, we got to go. I got to go
y'all.
home. Bye.
Later.
Hit the button.
What do we do?
We keep it sporty
Bang bang.
and don't quit.